South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to
Welcome back into another edition of Gaughan Racing. Yeah, Happy New Year or something. I don't know. We just had a big countdown. You know, we had a big countdown this week in Las Vegas. We did have a countdown getting imploded. Yeah.
For those of us that are born and raised here, that was a sentimental moment. Dad even woke up the next morning to watch it. Dad had I'm not going to say my dad sheds tears about those things, but we did have a countdown. And for those that don't know, the Tropicana Casino, I grew up with Complay on the island.
By the way, it's older than both of us.
It is way older than both of us. Let's point that out.
Way older than both of us.
But a lot of good memories at the Trop, and the Trop is now gone, supposedly for the Las Vegas Athletics, which I say money is still on the that they actually don't even come.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I still think we should have a different name for the team, but that's just me. But I think we're gonna make it ours. Let's make it our own.
Wrong network, wrong show.
Okay, but those of you listening in, Jeff Motley alongside Brendan Gaughan here in the South Point Casino.
Radio,
this is a NASCAR
radio.
show, not a anti-baseball radio here, or anti-Oakland A's or Las Vegas A's or whatever they're going to be. But no, another great week of racing. Talladega. We saw the largest crash in the
Cup
history.
Cup.
Cup Series history. 27. How many? We didn't start, but 38, did we?
40 made it. There's 40 in the race. So they actually
had 4. That's a big field, but still, we had 27, including 8 of our 12 playoff guys were involved in a crash. And Brendan, we were talking a little bit off the air. It really was just a product of the racing. I mean, you really shouldn't be casting blame on anyone.
I really wish I could let people understand. If you watch the last couple laps, they showed in-car footage of Kyle Larson the last couple laps, side by side with William Byron, side drafting, pushing Brad Keselowski, hood flaps popping up and down. And I notice I get a little goosebump talking about it. To the folks at home on television, it looks like, they're just side by side. If I could explain to you how difficult it is, the forces that move those cars, how it really, I mean, I watched a couple times where you watch the 24 on that last lap and the 5, like they get sucked together. I mean, literally you feel the force, you feel the cars actually like you went to put a suction cup on your shower, mirror. I mean, it is so difficult to do, and it really is so much more difficult than it looks on television. And what happened in the wreck was just a product of the hard racing that is super speedways. You had a guy hooked up on a bumper. The guy in the middle got hit from a guy behind, which puts him in a bad spot, which puts the leader.
So it's a chain reaction.
It happened up front. Huge wreck. Took out a lot of playoff contenders. Took out a lot of guys. It saved one playoff contender. Denny Hamlin was.
Denny Hamlin won't complain about the big one for a little while.
Denny was about to be on the outside looking in, and now he's on the inside looking out. It was one heck of a deal, and unfortunately for my 62 team, we were trapped a lap down, and we were one spot from the lucky dog. So.
Well, and for another week, we had a non-playoff driver go to victory lane. So now we did have a driver lock himself into the next round. William Byron did. So now, we know we've got Kyle Larson, we've got William Byron, both are locked into the next round.
I don't think Kyle's
not locked in. William Byron is locked into the next round. So we know he's the only guy that's completely locked in.
And he is the only one completely locked in.
So William Byron's locked himself in, but Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who, we've always kind of said it's wreckers or checkers on these kind of racetracks for Ricky.
We talk about him every week. Ricky is that guy that when you come to super speedway, super aggressive, super good. And if Ricky makes the right moves, Ricky's up front winning races. When Ricky doesn't, he's in the 30-car pileup that just happened. That's just part of Ricky. And he did a great job of holding on to that deal in the end.
A lot of talk about the end of the race.
Just going to say,
Brad Keselowski, should he have blocked Ricky? Should he have not blocked Ricky? Did he think he was going to get help? He certainly didn't get help. Would you have done what Brad did, or would you have gone up and blocked Ricky?
Here's the thing. It's so difficult to say. In my head, I would have expected the guy behind me to give me a bigger push, so I would have expected a push coming. I probably would have thrown a block, come back down, tried to block both lanes.
But manufacturers play into that, and you knew you didn't have one. Well, actually, one thing, by the way, before we finish this, you make the comment a lot of times the week before these restrictor plate races that if a bunch of groups are lined up, and what do we have with Harrison Burton and Joey Logano and Austin Center? They're all in Fords. and they were the ones that really kind of triggered that whole
wreck.
big crash. And almost and of course Blaney was already out, so horrible day for the Penske cars. But you made that point that if you have manufacturers running together and something goes wrong, we've seen it happen with Toyota this year. Now we've seen it happen with Ford this year.
I kind of question how the manufacturers always want. If you look at the end of that race, you had a Chevy Ford on the outside and a Ford Chevy on the bottom. And, if you look at how it ended, because you had Ricky Stenhouse in the Chevy, Brad Keselowski, you had Chevy
on the outside.
But the reason the Chevy won was the Chevys pushed and one Chevy chose not to. Not our show to discuss that conversation. We're talking about gambling. But what you ended up with was what we talk about. One group took out all of their deals, and you had a guy out there in a Ford sitting in the front of the field.
With nobody to help him.
And what cost him the race?
The fact that he had no friends.
Had nobody to help him.
He had no help.
So that theory still works. If I'm honestly these manufacturers nowadays, I'm like, you know what? I'd almost rather work with the other I'd rather pick a Toyota or a Ford or an opposite to work with, because man, when the Penske's were super strong. I mean, Austin Cindric looked great all day long, running up front, leading lap. I mean, it was like, ooh, hey, these Penske cars look pretty good. And then you watch the wreck and you go, oh, hey, these Penske cars don't look really good anymore. It's like I almost would say, you know what, pick somebody else from another group and stick with them.
Yeah, and we talk about the block thing, and I think you can speak to this as a former driver. It's one thing to be able to throw a block at Daytona because the start-finish line is in the middle of the front straightaway. But
throw the block in a different place at Talladega.
Well, and that's the problem, because you really want to throw that block as you come off turn 4, and if you throw the block off turn 4 at Talladega, it's too early because the start-finish line is almost to turn 1.
You ain't going to win it.
And that makes a complete difference on where you're throwing blocks.
And let me tell you, the other thing is, what is the most difficult part of Daytona and Talladega to drive around? The tri-oval. It is not the corners. The corners, there's so much banking, and you have so much downforce.
They never crash into turns at Daytona and Talladega. It's either on the front stretch or the back stretch,
where you're lacking downforce. And let me tell you that the tri-oval at Daytona and Talladega, actually, the trucks are the most difficult if you want the truth to drive. The trucks are the worst. But the car lightens up. That's where we get really loose. That's where swings happen. It is tough. And if you throw the block out of 4, you've left that whole tri-oval for the next push to come. So it's a totally different way that you have to block to get the win. And I think, but also that's why Talladega did that, because it gave that extra. They have that such long straightaway after the tri-oval that they went, you know what?
Let's race it all the way down.
Right here.
And people also don't realize, unless you actually get out there and drive on it, you go from this huge banking off turn 4 to virtually flat.
Hold on. It's still I think it's still banked as much as Vegas.
Well, it seems flat. But then you go into a higher banking right in the center of the tri-oval, then it flattens out again. So it's definitely a challenge, Daytona and Talladega. All right, well,
Fun.
we were talking about gambling, so let's take a look at how Ricky Stenhouse, 40-1, and I wouldn't be surprised if some people didn't have some money on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. just because of his ability at these type racetracks. And we talked about Brad Keselowski was battling. So Ricky was plus 850 for a top 3. Keselowski was plus 280 for a top 3, and William Byron was plus 400. Taking a look at the top 10, obviously a good run for Kyle Larson, kind of needed it after last week, but terrific run for Eric Jones. Eric Jones needed Justin Haley, another one. Somebody had Justin Haley to win his group, I might point out. And we saw some playoff drivers have really important runs. Christopher Bell in there, and you mentioned Denny Hamlin. That might be the happiest 10th place finish that Denny Hamlin has ever had.
That was a savior of a Hail Mary. And 83, even though it's super speedway racing. Kyle Busch was looking like he was going to win that race. 2 to go. He pulls out to that third lane, and everybody went, see ya, Kyle. I was like,
did he go too early?
Absolutely went too early.
Do you think he had it? Did he think he thought he had help? I mean, were the spotters are the spotters talking? I mean,
yes, they talked.
So is he pulling out thinking somebody's going with him?
I don't know. I was bummed. I wasn't there. I was talking with Darren Shaw, the crew chief of the 62, and Linda Beard, the owner.
Right.
And I have SMT data that I can see, and I'm watching this stuff. And when I saw him go up, I said, we talked a little bit after the Daytona race about helping teammates.
Oh yeah.
I screamed. I said, "Tell Anthony to get to the outside and push him. Just push him. Just do something.
Just do something."
Yeah, it wasn't a good night. Not a good move.
Well, we talked about those point standings, and now we've got a pretty big gap between our last guy and our cutoff guy. Joey Logano is the first one outside the cutoff line. He is 13 points back. Daniel Suarez is 20, and then Austin Cindric is 29, and Chase Briscoe is 32.
But the three bottom guys are guys that
run well on road courses.
There you go.
But I think they're all three in a must-win situation. And Joey's not far from being in a must-win situation because the two guys that he has the best chance to overtake, you talking about good road course racers, it's Chase Elliott and Tyler Reddick.
The two guys that are right there are the two best in the business. And when I start giving stats in the next segment, you're going to hear those two names a lot on the stat book.
Yeah, so I think right now, I mean, I really do believe the four guys that are below the cut line right now,
they're in trouble.
I think they're in trouble.
They're in trouble.
Because I think we're really looking at needing a win to get there. All right, we talked. This weekend we are going to a road course, the final one of the season. It's our second one in the playoffs because we already had Watkins Glen at the Roval down in Charlotte. And then if you're looking at our screen here on YouTube, we got the whole rest of the season up on our screen. The round of 8 will start here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with the South Point 400 the next week. Then we head down to Homestead Miami Speedway, then Martinsville, and then back out here into the desert a little south of us at Phoenix for the final race. So a lot of excitement. We got 12 drivers. We're only going to have 8 after this week.
No, it's another fun round of scheduling. Love that scheduling. Homestead, from what I understand, is pretty clear of problems down there.
Yeah, I think the storm went north of them, so they didn't.
But once again, like we talked a couple weeks ago with North Carolina, which is still in pieces. It sounds like DeSantis and those guys down there did a pretty good job. They've a lot of people moving around already and trying to put back together. So great job to them. But Homestead should be a good race. I love Homestead. One of my favorites.
Well, and I think it's great we go into this round of 8, and Las Vegas and Homestead are two tracks where you really tend to see the cream rise to the crop.
It's mile and a half tend to get the power, tend to get the aero stuff. And of course, I'd normally be wearing a South Point for 100 shirt today, but as usual, Motley, I had to go buy a South Point shirt at the South Point gift shop because I forgot a shirt for work today.
Well, anybody that's ever watched past shows, we're just glad that it's on right side out. It's not inside out, but that's a story for another day. Okay, we'll be back on Gaughan Racing. We'll start getting into our group matchups.
South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back into Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley alongside Brendan Gaughan. We're talking everything Roval, your favorite word in the entire NASCAR dictionary, Roval. I'm just saying Roval because I know how it irritates you.
I love Mr. Smith, the late Mr. Smith and the current Mr. Smiths, plural, the brothers. The
Bank of America Roval, 400.
It's the first of its kind.
It's the first of its kind.
That's what they said. The Roval, it's the first of its kind.
Well, it's the first one in Charlotte. Okay. Hey, look,
maybe
we PR people can spin anything the way we need it to be spun.
Hey, you know what? Didn't I race a road course at Vegas one time in a Formula Ford?
Well, that's
around
possible.
an oval and the ins. Wait, what?
Yeah.
You mean there's those other places? Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Let's talk about success at the Roval. And the driver we just talked about a moment ago, Chase Elliott, is the only guy in this race who has won twice here. And I will always give Chase credit. One of those wins was one of the most improbable wins I can ever remember because he drove head on into a barrier
what do they call
on a
what is
restart.
that called? It's the Excedrin headache corner or something like that. Or they named it whatever. Yeah, no, he knows that baby.
The first corner, he went in
and came back to win.
And it was amazing he didn't destroy the car, even though, I mean, clearly these were the softest tires known to man, or it was foam rubber back there or something. But Chase Elliott has certainly really, this is a great track for him. He's got 6 starts here. We've only had 6 races here. 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s, and 2 wins. Bell, Allmendinger, Larson, and Blaney also have wins here.
But look at the next one on that list, Jeff, if you're watching it on the South Point stream. Joey Logano, we just talked about him being on the outside looking in, about guys he has to beat. He's got 5 top 10s in the 6 races. Joey Logano is very good. And Joey, not notoriously one of our best road racers. Let's be honest. It's not like we talk about Joey Logano being, some road race ace. But Joey Logano at this track, one of the best. So he's on the outside looking in. It gives you, if you're a Joey Logano fan, it gives you hope.
Well, and it's interesting because we talk about the drivers that he has to pass. To hop over. And we talked about Elliott and Reddick. Well, the next 2 ahead of him are Blaney, who has a win here. Now, we know that win was a little bit fortunate with the Jimmy Johnson, Martin Truex thing, but he still was running third. He was still running third. And then the next guy in line in the points, he happened to win on the street course at Chicago this year. So there's a lot of, it's going to be very tough for him to overcome.
13 points behind Chase and Tyler, and Blaney is 25, and Bowman is 26. And if you look at that same graphic we had up, Alex Bowman has 5 top 5s in 6 races. So, there is some guys that are really good here. And for
he's
the
five for 5. He didn't run one of these races.
Only has 5. That's right. He's 5
for 5 on top 10. So
really tough here. We also have Kyle Busch with 3 top 5s in 6 races, not in the playoffs, but Kyle Busch, we're still doing the Kyle Busch watch to see if we can get him the W. And this could be
and now we're going to talk about our odds to win. And guess what? The guy who's the favorite to win is not even on this list, but we will talk about him plenty in the remainder of the show because he should be the favorite to win this race. And that is
by the way, he's in the car that won the race last year.
Oh, well, then there you go. That's right. A.J. Allmendinger won this race last year, and he is in this car. So Shane Van Gisbergen comes in as our favorite. I don't really think that's a big surprise at plus 500. William Byron and Kyle Larson are both plus 600. Tyler Reddick, A.J. Allmendinger, 10-1. A.J. Allmendinger, the defending champion of this race, 10-1. Little different car this week. I mean, kind of same team, but
he was running this part-time car last year, which is what SVG is in.
Then Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs. Oh, didn't Chris Buescher win our last road course race, I believe, at Watkins Glen? Anyway, Buescher, Elliott, and Gibbs are all 14-1. Christopher Bell and Michael McDowell, 16-1. Martin Truex Jr. and Ross Chastain at 18. Daniel Suarez at 25. Alex Bowman at 30-1. I
am telling you, Jeff, this is a smorgasbord of, oh, my God, numbers. Everybody like that one behind the glass, huh? Smorgasbord. All right. I'm a fat kid. I know about smorgasbords. You look at Chase Elliott 14-1. Chase Elliott 14. Wait. Isn't that the guy we said has won twice here? I mean, he's 14-1. Chris Buescher, the last winner. A.J. Allmendinger, the last winner here. Tyler Reddick, one of the best in the business.
Let's just pick them all.
Dude, I could take every of those double. Tyler Reddick, A.J. Allmendinger, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, and Ty Gibbs, and I'll bet you one of those 5 win.
You know what's interesting? The 2 guys who I just wouldn't even touch on this are Byron and Larson. Because they're, to me, and I know plus 600, but to me, first off, I think Van Gisbergen is that good. But I think when you look at what Reddick has done on road courses, what Elliott has done here, and Buescher is that sneaky good guy.
Let's just take Chris Buescher. Remember, we talked about him, the hottest man in road racing. 10 races, 8 top 10s in the last 7.9 average finish. I just killed Ann in the group behind the desk of screaming into the microphone. And he's 14-1.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I believe there's such great value. Now, look, Van Gisbergen should be the favorite.
Absolutely.
And his number, I think, is fair. Byron and Larson, to me, that's just the two that don't have value. But anybody else up there, fair game. And does Truex have one last hurrah in him on a road course? I mean, look, there was a point in time where Truex was the guy to beat every week on a road course. I mean, I remember a couple of those races at Sonoma where, I mean, it was everybody racing for second.
He was drinking wine before the finish line. He had such a big lead.
Absolutely. So I agree. Those are pretty good numbers. All right, let's take a look at our second page of our list, and another 30-1 Kyle Busch. And then we got Austin Cindric, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney all at 40-1.
Ryan Blaney, we just talked. These are South Point odds, by the way. I'm about to.
Andrew and Vinny, we need to get them on the set.
Can I get a hotline back here?
Should we have them on the set to explain themselves?
Yeah.
Anyway, we got Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, and Todd Gilliland all at 60-1. Carson Hocevar, Justin Haley, Noah Gragson at 100-1. But the field is only 20-1.
I ain't taking the field on this one. But Denny Hamlin, first of all, if this is any other time in the world and you see Denny Hamlin 60-1, what are you saying?
I'm picking him.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick him here. I think he's very happy he got that 10th place finish because he was not looking forward to this race. One top 5 finish in the last 10 road races, average finish 22.6. But how about Austin Cindric? I mean, Austin Cindric is a guy we've talked about. He came from a different form of racing. He spent a lot of time in open wheels. Austin has 3 top 5s in the last 10 races on road courses. This is a place where Austin could very well be good. And there he is. And then we talked about Kyle Busch, how good he is on that stat. You talk about Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. Those are huge numbers, and I could absolutely see jumping on so many of these guys. The field, not so much, but those guys, absolutely amazing.
Well, and I think we've got even some of those guys that are the crazy numbers. I mean, a guy like Hocevar, I just won't be shocked to see him run well. If you remember, Hocevar was running up there top 5, top 6 at Watkins Glen.
Now, we're also sitting here on Thursday talking about this. If there is rain, SVG at 500 is a steal.
Should be what, 100-1? I mean, I'm sorry, a plus 100, 1-to-1.
He might be a minus 150 if it rains. So, you got to watch the weather because if there's rain, that would take this right now and put SVG at the top, would put a Tyler Reddick right at the top, a Kyle Larson. So even though he's already there, a plus 500 in the rain to me would just absolutely crush SVG. I think that would be. I'd jump all over it.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, his driving prowess is pretty amazing. And you're right, the track gets wet, as we saw at Chicago. Pretty incredible. All right, let's take a look at our top 3s now. No big surprise here that Shane Van Gisbergen is at the very top at a plus 160. Then we've got Kyle Larson at plus 180. William Byron at 220. Allmendinger's 230. Reddick is 330. Christopher Bell, Chris Buescher, Chase Elliott, all at 350. Ty Gibbs is 400. Ross Chastain at 425. McDowell and Kyle Busch 450. Bowman is 500. Truex and Suarez at 600. And Austin Cindric at 10-1.
Once again, you're giving me Ty Gibbs 400. You give me Chris Buescher 350. Chase Elliott 350. These are huge numbers for top 3. All right, you're worried about the win because the win is 2. You can only win one of those. You could win a couple of these. I think the pit crew actually a couple weeks ago did the couple top 3 bets, and I think they won. I know they won one. They might have won 2 of them to get themselves a decent W. You could do Chris Buescher and Chase Elliott 350 and win both of those bets. So I do like the top 3s. I do really, 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 really like even AJ. No, AJ hasn't been that strong, but Chris Buescher and Chase Elliott at 350. Huge to me.
Well, I think there's one guy who I would not touch for top 3, and that's William Byron, and I'm going to tell you why. The fact he's already locked into the next round, if I'm his crew chief, it is important to me to try to get every stage win I can because I want as many bonus points going into that final round as I can.
He will be racing for the stage point to get that.
And if a byproduct of that is winning the race, obviously that's gravy. And if he looks like it's going to take a different strategy for him to win, he's going to try that different strategy. So I think he's a good pick. Well, again, I kind of said I wouldn't pick him to win because I don't think he's going to.
He's a good pick for alternate strategies. He's a good pick for just trying to gain points. He finished second in this race last year, so I mean he's got some good chops.
But I think his mentality is going to be a little different here, and they're going to be willing.
That's what matters.
They're going to be willing to sacrifice second or third to go for the win.
Yes. So if you want him for the win, that's one thing. But
I wish his number was about 900 or 10 to 1.
That's the problem. Is plus 220. The problem I have is that I would want him to be a little higher for me to take that risk because he's going to take a risk. But he's going to be win or 20th. So I would not take him for a top 3. I'd go for the win versus a top 3.
And I do think if we see drivers that are going to come in and pit for stage ends, he's not one that's going to do it. All right, we'll take a quick look at our rest of our odds here. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe are all 12 to 1. Gilliland is 20. Gregson, Haley, Barry, Hocevar, Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski all at 28. Zane Smith at 30. Eric Jones, Corey LaJoie, Austin Dillon 40, and John Hunter Nemechek at 50.
Yeah, I mean, just start off with once again Joey Logano. I mean, not a great road racer. I look at road racing, average finish 15.8 on all of them. But if I look at just at the Roval, pretty dang strong up there. Third best point getter. So the average finish 8.7 at the Roval. I love that. And the Ryan Blaney, second best point getter, average finish 10.2. So these two guys, there's some huge numbers on top threes that you could really, Jeff, take advantage of. Far right side, Brad Keselowski, all that, not into it. But
I agree with you on Logano. I think he's certainly at 12 to 1. I think that's a great pick. All right, we come back on Gaughan Racing. It'll be time for our driver head-to-heads, and we'll get started on our group matchups this week.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside. Or maybe you're in the mood for seafood. Big Sur Oyster Bar has fresh seafood prepared right before your eyes. Savor freshly shucked oysters, crab legs jambalaya, shrimp and lobster. Beers on tap and a selection of fine wines are perfect to pair with your seafood favorite. Whether lunch or dinner, you'll love this fun atmosphere, located just off the casino floor. Ready to shake things up? Step back in time and treat yourself to one of the oldest restaurant chains in the country. Steak and Shake, famous for original mouth-watering steak burgers and hand-dipped milkshakes in a variety of flavors. For some old-fashioned fun, try Steak and Shake.
Welcome back into Gaughan Racing. Jeff Motley, Brendan Gaughan, talking all things the Bank of America Roval 400. I emphasize that word.
Nails on a chalkboard.
I know. It's Brendan's favorite word. Like our buddy Pete Pistoni's favorite word is penultimate. Your favorite word is Roval, correct?
That or crapshoot during
crapshoot too.
Talladega.
Yeah, we'll have a list. Maybe we'll put a list up on a website for our
make our professionally unprofessional shirt and have our favorite sayings on the back. Earl Ross, McNugget.
There we go. Yep. And that race at Kansas that year, the Bushy McBush face something.
Bushy
remember that?
McBusherton,
I don't even
500.
remember what that was, but it was ridiculous.
But we still talk about it.
You're exactly right. So, all right, we are into our driver head-to-heads, and I have to be honest with you.
I like a couple.
There are some very, very interesting driver head-to-heads. And I'm just going to throw the first one that jumps out at me.
That is the same.
Is Chase Elliott at plus 120 over Tyler Reddick. And I'm not that down on the Chris Buescher at plus 115 over Tyler Reddick or A.J. Allmendinger at plus 150.
Now,
and I love Tyler Reddick. Don't get me wrong. We like Tyler.
Listen, the doing the don't line against Tyler, buyer beware. 4 races, 3 top 10s, 1 top 5, average finish 7.0. In road racing in general, Tyler Reddick is a little bit further down the list. If you go to, overall, he is, where's my guy Tyler Reddick at? Oh, no, sorry. He is number 1 on it. 7 top 10s, 4 top 5s, 1 win, average finish 12.2. So buyer beware going against Tyler on the road course. But if you're telling me Chase Elliott, who the guy we've talked about, 2 wins here, you're giving me a 120 head to head with Tyler Reddick right there. I do like that. That is one that I am absolutely looking at. I also look down there. Do I believe in the Martin Truex Jr. thing yet? Oh, I just don't know.
Well, I like him at plus 115 against Michael McDowell a little better than I do the plus 115 against Christopher Bell.
Don't like him against the Christopher Bell, but I like him against that McDowell, the Seabell.
And what about Ross Chastain plus 115 against Ty Gibbs?
Well, and
you never know with Ross.
No, you never. And that's the thing is you don't know. Remember, he won the.
He just won 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't a road course.
No, but he won the COTA race the one year.
He did.
Went out there and
quite the Donnybrook of a finish
spectacular
there.
Fashion. Ty Gibbs though 4 top 5s in the last 10 road races. So little tough there, but Ross Chastain, if you get the right Ross Chastain, that's a heck of a bet right there at 115. Kyle Busch, even money to SVG.
I'm not betting against SVG. I'm
that's
just
tough
not
to
doing
do.
It.
You look at any other plus lines. Dinger versus Reddick, like you said. I don't know. I like 2 of them. I like the Martin Truex, Michael McDowell. I like the Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick. I think I might be betting the Chase Elliott Reddick.
Let me ask you a question. We talked about SVG. I'll talk about him before we go to our group matchups. If you're a driver and you're competing against SVG and you have seen what he's able to do, like Kyle Larson even talked about following him at Chicago and almost just being amazed.
Off the start of that race, that's what he said. They said just follow him.
He did. And for Kyle Larson to say that, who is one of the greatest race car drivers
in the world.
And probably in the history of racing. I mean, now I think he's earned that. Do you sit and watch video of SVG? Do you watch the races and say, and can you translate that into your own hands and feet, or is he just that talented?
I grew up watching videos of Emerson Fittipaldi and watching Ayrton Senna and watching Michael Schumacher. I grew up watching those guys because I wanted to be an open wheel guy. I used to go race those things. I used to spend hours watching old school, right, where those things were grainy, with the stuff going across and all their footwork. You absolutely will watch what he does, and he is deserving of it. This race right here, though. I made the mistake saying Watkins Glen. I don't think SVG would have as big of an advantage.
If he has turned left and right, I don't think it matters where he's at.
And I'm starting to believe that also. So I would absolutely be going home watching him. And Kyle Larson is that smart. He is.
All right. Well, let's get into our groups. And no big surprise in Group A to see Shane Van Gisbergen is our favorite at plus 220. Kyle Larson plus 250. William Byron plus 260. And a big old plus 370 on Tyler Reddick.
We talk about enticement. The problem I have with the Tyler Reddick, he's 14 points to the good. Is Tyler Reddick going to take, are he and his crew chief going to take that big of a risk to go out to make sure they win? Or are they going to try to make sure they get 7 or 8 stage points in stage 1, 7 or 8 stage points in stage 2, get a solid top 15 finish, and just point their way into the next round? Or do they go for that W? That's the only thing that scares me. Shane Van Gisbergen?
He scares me.
He's going for one thing and one ping only, Shaw. He is going for the W, and that is it. And he wants, come on.
That was funny.
My Sean Connery is not very good, but I still.
That was funny, though. Bond, James Bond.
That was not Bond. That was Hunt for Red October. Wow.
It's still Sean Connery. When I'm thinking of Sean Connery, I'm thinking Bond.
SVG though 220 to win this group. I mean,
plus 370 is enticing. And look, you did the same thing 2 weeks ago, I believe, on William Byron, and you had a plus 445.
I did.
And it really clearly was a long shot, but it was enticing, so you jumped on it.
All right, I could jump on it. Yep. I do kind of like it.
All right, looking at our Group B, we got co-favorites here, A.J. Allmendinger and Chris Buescher at plus 245, Chase Elliott at plus 275, and Ty Gibbs at plus 315.
God, this enticement this week is very, very, very enticing. I don't have another word. Ty Gibbs, 315. Look, I love Chase. I love Chris Buescher. The dinger has been a little disappointing this year, honestly, if we talk about it, right? I mean, we've talked about it. He has not done quite as well on the road courses as we've seen in the past. And I think Ty Gibbs at 315. Chase Elliott doesn't need to win this race. Chase Elliott needs to do the same thing that we just talked about with Tyler Reddick. 7-8 points in stage 1, 7-8 points in stage 2, solid top 15 finish, and he points his way into the next round, and he's happy, and he moves on. So Ty Gibbs still wants to make that career win number one. This is a good shot, and you're giving me 315 for it. I do kind of like that.
I look at this group, and man, because of the plus 275, I want to take Chase Elliott. I want to take Chase Elliott.
That either.
And then I say, well, how about Watkins Glen? Man, Buescher was really good at Watkins Glen.
Yes, he was.
And then I want to say, how about last year's race? Well, A.J. Allmendinger won last year's race.
Yes, he did.
Ty Gibbs has got a very enticing number. Boy, it just makes this group so hard for me to want to pick here. I suppose if I had to go anyway, I would go Chase Elliott just because I've got a bigger number. There's more return on Chase Elliott than there is on Buescher or Allmendinger. I don't see Gibbs winning this group because those guys are some very experienced, accomplished road
last year.
Yep, I understand, but fourth may not cut it against this group.
May not.
And it's Group B.
May not.
But that's a Group B that I don't think anybody in Group B winning this race would surprise any of us.
Chase Elliott not, Dinger not, Buescher not, no. But 315 is pretty. I do agree. 275 is also enticing on Chase Elliott, who's won here twice. So I do like that.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out how many times I'm going to circle it, scribble it out. So we're going to see because I'm certainly in the wavering position right now. All right, take a look at it. Group C, we got co-favorites here, Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell at plus 235. And then a couple of big numbers in this group, Martin Truex Jr. at plus 305 and Ross Chastain at plus 310. And Brendan, if Truex or Chastain won this group, you bet both of them you'd win. Yes,
and my problem is with Truex, is he phoning it in? I just don't know. If this was any other year, I would jump right now on that Martin Truex at 305 and say, man, Martin Truex, love it. But I just get nervous doing that with the way he's been running lately. He is, hands down better than the rest of the guys in that group at this track. Michael McDowell, no top 10s, 22.8 average finish here, which we talked about how great Michael is on the road courses. This has not been one of them. So I look down at that and I go, Christopher Bell, got to win. Average finish 12.
Here's what I see in Christopher Bell. I see a guy who's won on this Roval. I also remember he won on the road course at Daytona when we were having the COVID situation.
In his first year, when we went, oh, my God, look at this.
Right. This is a guy that's very comfortable on these type racetracks. Even though he's a co-favorite plus 235, I still think that's a good number. And to me, Christopher Bell is the guy who clearly I think should be the guy to beat in this group right here. So I really, really do
I do agree, and 235 is a good return. I don't think Ross. I'm scared to bet Martin. I do like the 235 on C.
Yeah, and I think McDowell. I mean, that group. Look, they got 5 races left together. I mean, at some point you start thinking about next year, right? So, like Christopher Bell here. All right, taking a look at Group D. Daniel Suarez is our favorite at plus 230, and a guy who really, really needs a big run here. Alex Bowman plus 255, Kyle Busch plus 290, and Ryan Blaney plus 305.
4 races or 6 races, 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s here. Average finish of 10. The only one is if Kyle Busch is in.
Are you gonna make a call to the Westgate on these odds?
If Kyle Busch, you're giving me Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney, and we talked about Alex Bowman, how good he was. I don't know why you have Suarez as the favorite here. No offense, I'm sorry. I love Daniel. He's my buddy, but I don't know why you have Suarez sitting as the favorite in this group. which I think is an absolute misnomer there. 0 top 10s, average finish 27 at this racetrack. So I can take that one out right there, give you Bowman, Busch, Blaney. Busch, if he gets his head out of his keister and can get back to where he's supposed to be, he'd be at 290. That's great. But Blaney
plus 305. I mean, to me, I'd make him the favorite in this group. I love him at plus 305.
That's where, I mean, second best point getter here at this racetrack, and he's top 10 overall at road courses. I like Blaney.
Well, and I'm with you. I mean, I like Blaney here too. I mean, in fact, I think his biggest competition probably in this group is going to be Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman, we know he's run well on these type of tracks. We talked about, he was in that battle at COTA the year when it was Allmendinger and it was Bowman and it was Chastain, and Chastain managed to win. And then we also have Bowman winning this year on the street course at Chicago. So I guess I kind of look at this and I say, this is down to Blaney and Bowman, and you give me Blaney at plus 305, then that's the guy I'm going to go for.
Yeah, I mean, Bowman's stats here are phenomenal. So I don't disagree with you. Pick between Blaney and Bowman. And the only thing you're looking for is a long shot from Kyle.
All right, we come back. We'll give you our last two groups, and we'll tell you how we did last week and give you our picks.
South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Welcome back into Gaughan Racing, our final segment this week, talking all things Bank of America Roval 400. Brendan knows I just love to say Roval to rub it in. And we are talking about our last two groups before we get into our manufacturer picks and our picks this week. And going to Group E, Joey Logano and Austin Cindric, Penske teammates at plus 225 are the favorites. Todd Gilliland plus 310 and Chase Briscoe at plus 335.
Yeah, to me, this is my easiest one for me right now. Joey Logano, 225. I talked about how I think Cindric is great, is a great road racer, comes from a lot of background. Talked about Chase Briscoe and the points thing he's going for. But Joey Logano, he's on the outside looking in. He's got to get stage points and finish well. He can't give up any of those. Neither can Chase Briscoe. They're both in the same place. Logano, just a much better here. 5 top 10s, 2 top 5s, and average finish 8.7. I think this is the easiest lock to me, 225, Joey Logano.
I agree. I think Logano is the guy to beat here. Certainly the two guys that are the most desperate. Well, actually, there's 3 desperate guys in here. Cindric and Briscoe are pretty desperate as well. Cindric, good road racer. Gilliland, don't really think of him as much as a road racer. He's not bad, but I'm kind of with you.
Get 3 playoff guys running for their life and 1 not. I got to take the 1 guy that's not out. I got to tell you those 3 guys are going to go for it, and I think Logano and Penske have the best overall team feel there, even though Cindric is a Penske team. I just think Logano has that experience and I'm going with Logano.
And the last hope for Stewart-Haas Racing there, Chase Briscoe, as they wind down. All right, taking a look at Group F, co-favorites here, Carson Hocevar and Justin Haley at plus 245, Noah Gragson at plus 290, and Zane Smith, a guy who's really actually come on in the second half of the season, done a solid job at plus 295.
I'd have to dig so deep into stats for these guys. They have so few starts on road races for me to dig through. The only thing I would look at is Hocevar has been such a great surprise all season long. I think he's almost our new Chris Buescher, right? He cashes tickets, so I would not be afraid to put a bet down on Hocevar right here. And that's the only thing I can look at is just off of a feel of Hocevar has, just really impressed everywhere they've gone. Kind of like Hocevar.
Yeah, I'm with you here. I like Hocevar. I think the plus 245. I think there's some good return there. Zane and Noah hasn't been a bad road course racer, but I just think this is
Zane's got a top 5. I'll give him that. He's got one top 5 at.
And you look, Hocevar. There's a carrot out there for Hocevar too. I mean, he's got a pretty good little lead on Josh Berry for Rookie of the Year, and I think winning Rookie of the Year is a big deal for Carson Hocevar as well. It should be.
Oh, huge deal for that team.
Right, for that entire team. So I think him continue to run well. I think there's a lot of incentive there. So, I look at Carson Hocevar at plus 245 and really kind of like that one. All right, let's move along to our manufacturer picks. And if you, I guess it's pretty obvious that they are convinced the Chevy's going to win, in which with Shane Van Gisbergen in a Chevy, Kyle Larson in a Chevy, William Byron in a Chevy, Chase Elliott in a Chevy, Alex Bowman in a Chevy. A lot of Chevys out there. AJ Allmendinger in a Chevy. And that's why Chevy is minus 170. That is with that little line that with no.
I know a lot of NASCAR bettors don't understand that. We don't talk about
that's the horizontal line. There's no vertical line with that. So, minus 170 for Chevrolet, but a lot of return on Toyota and Ford. Toyota comes in at plus 330 and Ford's plus 350.
Chris Buescher won the last race, and it wasn't like he won it because the big wreck took out all the guys that were fast. Chris Buescher was fast to begin with. You got Ryan Blaney, who's been fast here, and won this race before.
Joey Logano,
that we've said is fast and needs to do well.
And what's Tyler Reddick driving?
Tyler Reddick's
and
a
what's
Toyota.
Christopher Bell driving?
And the number one point getter on all road racing right now is Tyler Reddick. So I 330, 350. Both of those numbers are great numbers. Hey, Jeff, we always talk. Put one unit on Toyota, one unit on Ford. Just hope a Chevy doesn't win, and you're coming home with a decent return there. So I don't dislike the Toyota Ford number. Hard to differentiate between the two. I think that the Fords have 3 guys on the outside looking in, which puts them very hungry, and they're 350. I kind of like that.
Well, I like either one of them, Toyota or Ford here. Now, just because of the number, do I think Shane Van Gisbergen's probably going to win the race? I do, unless something happens to him. I really think he's that good, and I think his car is capable of winning. But I do like I like both of them here. I like Toyota, I like Ford. I'm probably not going to bet both of them, but I like both of them. All right, let's take a quick look at our championship odds. And, Brendan, I only scratched my head at one in particular. Or it's kind of a 2 because I don't know why these two guys are not flip-flopped. Joe Logano is 12-1. Why would anyone want to bet that right now, given how far he's going to have to overcome here? But Alex Bowman is 25-1, and he is looking actually pretty solid as long as he stays out of a tire barrier or something.
All the rumors earlier in the year about Alex Bowman being replaced next year and all these things.
And now he might be in the crazy 8. I mean,
25-1. But hold on, even Logano, Reddick, or Chase Elliott, who are all 12-1, when this goes down to 8, they're going to go to single digit, right? So
correct. Bowman's going to go even lower. Now Bowman might be the long shot of the 8, provided he gets in. And look, I think Alex Bowman's getting in.
I like the 25-1 on Alex Bowman. That's a great hedge bet. It's a great future bet. Take Alex Bowman, take Joey Logano, take Tyler Reddick, and you've got a hell of an easy return to hedge off of if those 3 make it to home to Phoenix. Yeah,
I totally agree. All right, let's take a look at how we did last week. I'm excited to talk about how we did last week. I got 3 right last week.
Yes, you did. You almost caught the pit crew.
Yeah, I almost got out of last place. I really like the way you put that. But I had Denny Hamlin over Michael McDowell in the head-to-head, which once Michael McDowell got taken out in that big wreck, and Denny had dodged it because he was riding in the back of the field. That one was pretty much an easy layup there. Then had William Byron in Group C, who also had a top 3 in the race, had a strong run. And then I was so gung-ho on Justin Haley last week, and I never felt like I even sweated that one. So that one was big for me. You had a couple wins last week.
Same thing with you Hamlin McDowell.
You had the Hamlin over McDowell, and you were all in on Denny Hamlin, which is something you don't do very often.
And I don't. And I was pissed off all race. And then I
might have gotten one of those texts from you during the race.
Then at the end, I'm like, never a doubt. Way to go. I really was excited about the Kyle Busch. I thought I had the Kyle Busch with 2 to go. I was like, all right, Kyle. And then that was just, I couldn't believe that. But and the pit crew minimized the bleeding. They got themselves the W.
They got the William Byron group. So yes, good win there.
Everybody double digits now on the season with a few weeks to go. So, pit crew, Jeff, don't screw it up. Stay double digits.
Yeah, I look forward to when I mathematically can't be below 0. That's what I'm looking for. So
you still can be below. There's enough races you can still be below 0. Mathematically, just for those at home that are following along, I mathematically couldn't be below 0 since about halfway through the season.
This is true. I would say it's pretty fair to note that you have
and
clinched.
Just give me a dirty look behind the glass.
You
right
clinched
now.
not being below 0, but one of us could get 100-to-1 pick and still catch you. I mean, crazy things have happened. All right, quick look at my picks for this week. Since I am worst goes first. I'm going to take the Chase Elliott head-to-head over Tyler Reddick at plus 120. I got 3 group picks this week. I'm taking Christopher Bell in Group C, Ryan Blaney in Group D, and Carson Hocevar in Group F. And then I don't take manufacturers very often, but I am going to go Toyota in the manufacturer picks this week. And our pit crew picks this week, they are going with 4 groups and a manufacturer. They have Tyler Reddick in A, Christopher Bell in C, Kyle Busch in D, Joey Logano in E, and they are taking the Toyota pick at plus 330. So we agree on 2 picks, the Bell pick and the Toyota pick.
Man, I want to change my picks now because you two have been the mooshes.
Hey, guess what? Last week, it's a good thing you picked what I picked. Just saying. At least one of them.
Man, I'm like sitting there. Do I change my picks now? I'm like, I got it written down here on what am I written on today? Oh, the football. Week 6 football. If anybody wants Week 6 football odds.
You just pick up random scraps of paper.
Yeah, I just take the paper that's on the desk and make it. Normally it's a parlay card, and then I might go bet the parlay card afterwards.
It shows our age gap that I write everything down and you use a computer.
Yeah, that giant age gap we got.
all 6 years of it.
the kids behind the counter, that's an age gap. All right, so I'm going to stick with what I got. I got Ty Gibbs for that top 3. I think that Ty, I still am a believer in Ty. I think he's going to get one. He's going to end up the season pretty well. This is a track with the changes and some of those things. I like Ty. I got Chase Elliott top 3. I'm a believer in Chase this week. I think he's going to do what he has to do to keep those points, and I think that they're going to come home with a good, solid finish. I'm also doing the Chase Elliott versus Tyler Reddick. I think that they're going to keep that in mind all day long and try to make sure they're around or above Tyler, so to speak. So I think that's a good bet. And then I'm going to take 2 groups. I got C-Bell Group C, which everybody apparently is betting this week, and I'm going to take my lock, which the pit crew also has, of the Logano in Group E.
Well, I would like to point out...
I want to take Ford and scratch out one of my bets because you guys both picked Toyota, so I really want to pick Ford just so I can say that I beat you guys on that pick, and then watch SVG just dominate the race and win, and there's rain, and it's Chevy, and but...
I do want to point out that... we have not jinxed the last 2 drivers that we've all 3 picked.
Let's make this point. The last
Larson
2
did
times
not get jinxed, and I think it was Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson before that. We did not jinx either one of them.
The Gaughan Racing is not the jinx. The Gaughan Racing is if we all agree.
Then you should be good. So Christopher Bell, congratulations already on winning. Can we just go cash those tickets now? Is that?
I don't know if it works quite that way.
Yeah. I don't.
It's a good shot though.
Yep.
Listen, you can argue it. You can go to Dad's office argue. I mean,
yeah, well, I know about how long that argument's going to last.
Don't let your shadow darken my doorway again.
There you go. All right, we got about a minute left. Which 4 are going home?
Honestly, I think right
the
now
bottom three to me are certainly going home.
I think Logano has a shot to put himself back in. I do believe that Logano has a fighting chance, and if he does, I think that it's Reddick that ends up breaking an egg type thing and having a problem. So I think Logano's got a shot, but I really do think the bottom four are the bottom four. I think they're going to be out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Too big of a gap. Too big of a gap if everybody plays it safe.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing would be if we get a Cindric, a Briscoe, Suarez were to win the race. Then it's all hands on deck. But it gets really interesting, gets really dicey. But I'm with you. I think the bottom four guys. I think those three, Logano.
We'll be seeing a lot of each other next week, though.
We will next week. South Point 400 here in Las Vegas. It's going to be a busy week for
Kenny Schrader,
us.
legend.
Kenny
My
Schrader,
man Kenny.
legend to be here.
Love you, Kenny. See you
have
soon.
the Brendan
Actually,
John.
screw Kenny. Mrs. Schrader, love you more.
We have the Brendan Gaughan Celebrity Blackjack Tournament. We're going to be painting the start finish line pink, all kinds of stuff, but getting ready for the race. Okay, we'll be back next week. We'll break down a little bit of the Roval, and we'll talk all things Las Vegas and the South Point 400.